couple of these read, and we're going to talk beach reads.
Yes, it is summer. 4th of July is coming close upon us, and we're sure a lot of you are going to be on the beach reading. Now, Becky and I have very different style when it comes to our beach reads.
Well, go ahead and pull that stack over.
Okay. So we've got this. This is part of Becky's stack.
Yeah, this is my stack here. I like books. She likes the Kindle.
When most of the time I prefer hardcover, paperback, something I can get my hands on. But when I'm at the beach, I want my Kindle. It's easy. I can throw it in a bag. I can go. And we also have, I think, very different books that we pick. The one we agree on is Heather Weber.
Yes, we definitely agree on. And look, I don't know if y'all can tell, I have all my books here, but Heather Weber, her last one was In the Middle of Hickory Lane. You got it early last year.
I did.
On NetGalley or something.
I got it literally so I could read it on the beach.
Right. And then I read it there, but then I went and bought the hard copy because I wanted the book. And I've actually started reading it a second time. And she's coming out with another one this summer, and I can't wait for it. So,
hopefully right in time for the beach.
Right. So we do agree on this. And we both read Patty Callahan Henry.
Yes.
This is the first book you read of hers, right?
Yes. She was kind of my hard reset, though. Like, I was in a writing slump, and Patty Callahan Henry just pulled me right out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I binge too many thrillers, and then I'm like, I need something that makes my heart feel things. And right. She's that.
The first book I read of hers and was The Bookshop at Water's End. Ooh. And as you can tell, it's pretty beat up. I've read it like 3 times. This is a book I think you should read.
Okay.
She writes so beautifully.
She really does.
She does. Phenomenal. And there are certain books I will read again and again if I'm having a stressful moment in my life and I need to, like you said, I need a reset, and I don't want to get into something I have to think too hard about. But I know this book because I've already read it twice, so, but Patty Callahan Henry is one of my beach reads, and kind of now we have 2, So, now this one, Dorothea Benton Frank, book lovers out there, you've never read her, I don't think, but she passed away a few years ago, and so sad. And this was the last book of hers. Now her daughter has written a book, and it's coming out, and I want to get it and read it. So yeah, and of course Joanne DeMaio, this is the Seaside Saga. Many books. We're up to 19, and it's just going to continue. So
yes,
we can push this over there out of the way. Okay, Joanne, thanks for being such a prolific writer. I love all my books. So there.
And I feel like one of hers come out right before we go to the beach. Every single time.
Every one of these books, I've read them on Memorial Day, Labor Day. Somewhere around in that time, spring break. Right around those times.
Which is brilliant. And I feel like that's intentional too, because they are really great books for the beach.
Yes.
For most people. Me, I don't know what it is about the beach. It's so calming. It's so relaxing that it's like, I need some thrills and chills.
Yeah.
So my beach reads aren't often the same.
No.
I like my Riley Sager on the beach. The House Across the Lake I read on the beach this year.
I've never read one of his books. You know what we should do? You should take your beach reads and you should pick one for me to read. And I have to read it. And then I'll pick one of mine for you to read.
Okay. I'm going to have to think
We'll have to do a challenge and see.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
Because most of my beach reads are thrillers. Sometimes I'll pick up a ghost story. I do like Elise Kova. If she comes out with a book, she writes fantasy romance. Like Duel with the Vampire Lord. I mean, just romance, just a great escape.
Right, okay.
It is what it is. She is my guilty pleasure read. She's never too dirty, but just that right amount of, my heart's pitter-pattering.
Yeah.
And then after her, I had to pick up a scary book, though, about ghosts. And let me think. What my go-to, like, since we went to the beach the middle of this summer, has been Frida McFadden.
Oh, yeah.
Frida McFadden and St. Abby, who wrote the Mind F series, and Frida McFadden, who wrote The Housemaid's Secret, and I just finished on this last beach trip, Never Lie,
Okay.
by Frida McFadden, and The Wife Upstairs by Frida McFadden. So she's one of these, she gets me every time when it comes to the twists and the thrillers. And I think that's
I need to read her.
part of just like, yeah, she's probably who I'd recommend, because that's part of what I like on the beach is like, I'm so relaxed, I'm having such a great time. Let me read something marginally terrifying where I'm going to be like, I know what's happening. And then the author's going to be like, no, you don't. And that is what it is reading a Frida McFadden book. And you guys know I read a lot of thrillers. I read a lot of New York Times best-selling thrillers. Right. Frida McFadden has definitely sold a lot of books. She might be a New York Times bestseller. I'm not sure. But she's not one that, she's not the first novel I see in a bookstore, which is a shame because she should be. But she's with a London publishing company. Oh. So maybe it's just a U.S.
something
thing.
To do that, yeah.
But anytime she comes out with a book and I'm going to the beach, I'm like, okay. And she's written so many that I feel like every time I go to the beach, I'm just like, what's the next one?
Well, good.
But she's phenomenal. And it's not, her stuff isn't like scary. It's just like, I tricked you. Yeah. And she does.
Well, that sounds interesting. Well, of course, I think everybody's probably already read this one.
Yes, Where the Crawdads Sing. And I think I did read it at the beach.
Yeah. I think you read my copy at the beach.
Yeah, I actually, I was almost finished with it on the way to the beach, and I put it down because I wanted to finish it at the beach.
At the beach, yeah. Have you seen the movie?
I did.
I have not seen. Oh, that's right. You watched it. Yeah, I forgot. I was mad at her about that. We were supposed to watch it together, and she watched it before me. So
it's fine.
Okay, whatever. I'll watch it some night when Wayne's watching something I don't want to watch. Mary Alice Monroe is another. I don't know if you've read any of hers. Love her books. I mean, she's definitely beach read all the way. The Beach House. There's a whole series.
Some of hers.
I know
before, like in college or high school or something.
Well, The Beach House, is a Hallmark movie, and there's a whole series of books for that. And of course, Mary Kay Andrews, who happens to be great friends. If you know Friends in Fiction, the little blog podcast thing they have, Patty Callahan Henry and her are big buds. So, they. Another good one. And we met Karen White, as we talked about before. I started this one today because I had finished the others that I was reading, and I read this one, and I'm starting it, and it's of course it's already interesting. Of course, I love Karen White. She is awesome.
She's so funny.
She was hilarious. I love her. I just I will soon be 65 years old, and I have never met authors that I've read all my life, or that are the favorites. And then within, like on Thursday night, we met Patty Callahan Henry, and then on Monday we had lunch with Karen White, and I'm like, why have I not done this before? I mean, it was great fun. I loved it. So, I may become a stalker and stalk all my favorite authors.
Well, I now follow Patty Callahan Henry, her email chain.
Yeah.
So I got email updates on Friends with Fiction and everything else.
Yeah. Love Friends with Fiction. I'll enjoy, watching them. They do live Facebook and stuff and everything. So it's real interesting. They're fun. And then and I think
I've read him too.
You've read him too. Okay, Andy Andrews. Okay, we've talked about all these women except for Riley Sager. Andy Andrews is amazing. I have all of his books. When I was a principal for Christmas, I would buy his books in bulk, and that was the Christmas gift I would give to my faculty. because his books have such strong messages. The Noticer, I just grabbed the first one I came to, The Traveler's Gift. Okay, and I think I may have mentioned this when we were talking one time. You were talking the other day about a publisher you were really hoping would pick, your book up, and then they didn't, and you were disappointed. This particular book, he had so many, nobody would publish it. It was rejection after rejection after rejection. So he went and he wrote other things, and he got The Noticer. And if you've not read that, you should.
I've read The Noticer.
So, yes, and it's all about Jones, and it's based on his life and a true story. He was homeless, and he lived under the pier in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And he survived doing odd jobs. I mean, his mom and his dad died when he was young, just like right outside teenage years kind of thing. And just thing after thing happened, and he ended up homeless. And now he lives on Ono Island, which is some of the richest real estate in Orange Beach, which is right next to Gulf Shores. And this is a rag to riches story with him, but his perspective, he was a comedian. He traveled with, like Jay Leno, he was on there. All these different things. He has had one of the most interesting lives, really. But his books they're fiction, but a lot of them are based on something in reality. And the Traveler's Gift, it comes up with 7 decisions, and it's a historical thing. And it's like you meet, Harry Truman, because his big thing was the buck stops here, and you end up in the office when he's having to make some major decisions, and regardless of what he makes as president, the buck stops here. He's not going to blame anyone else. He's going to take, responsibility for his actions and his decisions. But it goes through, Joan of Arc is in here, to something that she does. And it's these major figures in history, but, this man is having a crisis in his life. And it's like, all of a sudden, Michael the Archangel shows up, and he's carried through history. And you learn about people that you may not recognize the name, but you didn't realize what impact they had in history, kind of thing. This is an amazing book, The Traveler's Gift. Then he's got one called The Lost Choice that I love. You would really like it. And then, of course, the Noticer series. And how do you kill 11 million people? That is it's a little bitty book. It's great. Takes no time at all. The Heartmender, you and I listened to it.
The Heartmender we listened to at the beach.
And it takes place in Fort Morgan and Gulf Shores, and it's, during World War II and everything. And so, just amazing. So here's, he is one, we haven't reviewed a book of his on our podcast, on our blog or anything, because he's got to come out with a new one really soon, and I think he is, and we'll read it and do that. But those are my beach reads. And I'm kind of really all over the place. I do women's contemporary fiction. It's probably my overall favorite genre. But then I have people like Andy Andrews, who I love and will read anything he writes. And it's just, different things. And I like thrillers. I really wasn't a big thriller reader, although I was like a big John Grisham fan. I have, all his books and everything. And of course, then I liked Harry Potter. I like the Twilight series. So when I say I'm all over the place, people, I am all over the place when it comes to different things. I just like good writing,
Absolutely.
Different fun. So
these are our recommendations. So when you go to the beach,
that's right. Look them up.
Check out our list. Bye, guys.
Bye.